me to go with. And second, some of you owe me big time. When Jeff asked me to speak, until I walked in here this morning, I quite honestly did not know what I was going to say. Although I went to Kent to know him with them in February, and as we were loading the trailer and stuff, which was interesting how we got it, we're not going to go into that, but we had a trailer. I have been to a few wild calf milkings and a couple of goat ropes, and this had all the makings. And in fact, I was bitten on my hand because of the music on the radio before we got to the camp in the van. So I'm thinking, this is not going to be a fun weekend. Turned out it really wasn't a fun weekend. Turned out it was a very educational and learning experience. I have had, as a substitute teacher, most of these kids in the classroom, so I kind of knew what to expect, I thought.
Had you fooled.
When we got there, they actually followed directions. They helped. There was no games being played. There were no tricks. There were no, we're going to run around and keep everybody awake all night and early in the morning. And it was very pleasant. It was great. They took the time to learn. They took the time to experience what was being presented to them, not only by Brother Jeff and LeBron, but by their peers as they spoke to each other during quiet times. And while Thursday night, the last night, is always the highlight of the learning experience, for me it was Wednesday. On Wednesday, Joel shared, and then we didn't put a time limit on Jeremy. There will be one today.
Amen.
And then I shared, LeBron shared, and by the time we got through, Jeff looked around, and there is no one left in the sanctuary. I saw kids crying and hugging and helping each other to overcome the emotion that had overtaken them.
That's right.
And I'm thinking, how is tomorrow going to be better than this? Well, the next day, I had kept the crosses hidden and assembled. Had to assemble them once we got there. And they were looking forward to a bonfire, so why should I discourage them? I kept telling them to be a bonfire, that I had gotten the wood in position, which I did. And they had no idea how far, when they found these things on the side of the road, they were going to have to carry them. And we had spaced them out, one, then about the time they get tired, two, and then when they're exhausted, they find the third one. And somewhere between the first and the second cross, they started learning a very valuable lesson. And while we never brought it to their attention, I could see it. I had spent 12 years in the military. Would have stayed in, but other circumstances came about. And if you'll look on the bottom of this cross, you'll see that one person carried it because they drug the bottom on the dirt road and the gravel. And there were 4 people off the trailer, and everybody else is on the trailer kind of looking at them with the concept of, glad it ain't me toting that thing. And they shared that burden between the 4 of them, each one carrying it separately. When we hit the second cross, the first 4 said, uh-oh. And the people on the trailer said, they're going to need help. And they weren't the 4 big, strong boys that got off the trailer the first time. And they realized, we need to share the workload. And they picked their cross up, with each one of them taking a portion of the load. and carried it. Now, all told, the first cross went a little over a mile. At about a third of a mile away from that, they hit the second cross. The trailer was empty at the end of the second cross. When we hit the third one, they still did not know how much further they had to go. But they now knew it was going to take all of them sharing the load, with no one resting, to be able to carry these crosses to the top of this hill. I gave them an opportunity to put the crosses down, get back on the trailer, and I'll take you up to the auditorium amphitheater. And it was Corey who popped up with, "No, we got this." And they did. They carried it. We had challenged them the whole week that I'll bear my cross, you bear yours. And they did. They learned a valuable lesson in teamwork. They learned how to comfort each other. And I saw things through those kids on Wednesday and Thursday that I had never seen in a classroom. As I came in here today, as I said earlier, I really didn't know what to talk about. But on the screen here was a picture of the sun rising or setting. You never know, looking at a picture, whether it's a sunset or a sunrise. And it reminded me something that Ben Franklin had said at the original Constitution Convention when the country was founded. On the back of a chair was carved a sunrise or a sunset. And he pondered the same question I had. Is it a sunrise or a sunset? Going to youth camp, watching what they did, watching what they learned, and knowing how we're trying to build things. When I walked in and I saw the sun here, I knew that it has to be a sunrise, because I do not see a dead church before me.
That's right.
Amen.
And I challenge you, as I challenge the kids to not be bad parents, I challenge you to not be bad members of the church, to share your discipleship as we have challenged them to share their discipleship,
That's right.
and to continue to grow this church to be a force for the devil to reckon with.
That's right.
And I thank you.
Amen.